father, what is the significance of laughter?
It is a human physiological response to humor.
Then, judging from their laughter, the children at school found my remarks humorous. So without understanding humor, I have somehow mastered it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds, Dory's a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we'll be discussing the Season 3 episode, The Offspring. Original air date, March 10th, 1990. And as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, bear with me. This is a long one. And it's gonna be messy.
Yeah, this is, a lot happens in this episode.
Yeah, what a roller coaster. Okay, so we start off the episode where they're like, oh, Riker's on personal leave. And for a second I wrote continuity. And then I was like, oh no, that was 2 episodes ago. Riker was in the last episode, so I was immediately disappointed. So close, yet so far. So they're traveling to Sector 396 to begin charting the Salabi asteroid belt. What?
I think it's
Anyways.
Salabi. It doesn't matter.
It's not super relevant, I guess. So, okay, we start with Troy, Geordi, and Wes, who've been called to this lab by Data, who went to like a cybernetic conference, and since he came back, has been like basically barricaded himself in this lab. So apparently they're early because the door opens and Data is holding a foot, and he's like, too early, and then they're like, oh, okay, what the fuck? And then we see Data put a foot on, like a human-looking foot on a body, and then the toes wiggle, and it's like,
And we like
okay.
only see the feet, basically, and like the lower legs.
So then finally, Data lets the rest of the gang in, and he's like, everyone, I'd like you to meet my child, Lol. Lol looks like a Ken doll / alien combo.
Yeah.
It's a look. It's a choice. It's a look.
Kind of looks like a 1950s kind of robot deal.
Yeah.
From like a sci-fi
definitely.
movie from like the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an interesting design for sure.
Ah, Metropolis, you say.
So, Data from the start is like, this is my child. So Lol calls Data father, and Wes is like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And so basically, Lol has a positronic brain. I think, is that how it's said? Yeah. Like Data's. And when he was at the conference, he like started to set it up because, okay, I have to read this because like I do not, okay. It's new sub-micron matrix transfer technology that was used to lay down complex neural net pathways. Neural net pathways. So I guess Data just like transferred his brain stuff to Lol.
Control C, Control V.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is his way of continuing Dr. Soong's work. Picard is not pleased. He's like, Data, the fuck have you done?
Yeah.
And he...
Why'd you do this without telling anybody?
Yeah, he's like, Data, this is something I definitely should have been consulted about. And then Data goes, I've not observed anyone else on board consulting you about their procreation. I don't know what I wrote.
Probably
Oh,
Captain.
God. Oh, yes. I wrote CPT. That wasn't helpful. Thanks, shitty writing me. In which I did laugh because I was like, honestly, if like Picard probably would like to be consulted by everyone so he could just be like, don't have kids.
Yeah.
Don't have kids. They're bad. Also, I don't personally like them. Keep them away from me.
Yeah. So then Data decides that, like, says that Lal can pick their own appearance, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They get to customize. And then
Yeah,
on
customize
the screen,
your character.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, so Data supplies a build-a-sim situation for Lal in the holodeck. But a brief side note, in the opening credit, not in the opening credits, but like in the credits, directed by Jonathan Frakes.
That is right.
I was like, well, look at you.
This is Jonathan Frakes' first directorial episode. Actually, I think this was his first directing job in general. And it's funny because the story behind that is he was interested in this before, and he brought it to Rick Berman, who said, yeah, if you want to direct, you're going to have to go to school for it. And so Frakes' idea of that was, all right, you know what? Let's start learning. He started coming in for extra hours all the time to sit down and watch the production crews doing things when he wasn't on work. He started watching production crews on other lots in the same, in a Paramount production facility. He started doing research on it. He started taking courses on it. And in the end, he's pretty sure that Rick Berman basically said that to get him to give it up and just like not ask him anymore. But after coming to him with all this research, they were just like, all right, okay, we guess you can we guess you can do one.
He nailed it.
They ended up really liking his work on it, and this
He was great. He did a great job.
actually set a precedent for the rest of his career. He directed 2 out of the 4 Star Trek films that he starred in. He directed more episodes of TNG. He had directed episodes of DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, and even now he's still directing on Discovery and the Picard series that they did. So yeah, it has become his career. He actually does it far more than acting now.
Yeah,
That's pretty
he's
great.
he's a really good director.
He is.
Yeah.
I think he even directed an episode of The Orville.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did. They did that on purpose.
Yeah, The Orville's Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek parody show, essentially.
It's his Star Trek fanfic.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I don't know if this set a precedent, but it's become sort of a tradition on Star Trek that main cast get to direct an episode if they want to.
So it's somewhat set a precedent because both Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner were able to direct some of the Star Trek films to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
And yeah, because the one that Shatner directed has several problems, but one of the 2 that Nimoy directed was the most successful in the series for 30 or 25 years. So hey, you know what? He got a good gig with that.
Which one did he direct?
He directed Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and 4 was incredibly successful for them.
Yeah. That's the one where they have to save the whales. That's not a joke, Dory. That actually happens.
So while the precedent was technically set by them directing films, none of the cast were invited to direct back in the original series, and nor did any of them really show aspirations of it. They all wanted to be actors at the time. I would say that Frakes really did set a precedent for the rest of Star Trek, because Star Trek was going on as a television series for the next 15 years after this, and so many of the cast went on to direct episodes.
Yeah.
And that's great because like they knew the series as they were on the best too.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why Riker isn't in this episode, except for one brief cameo, which we'll get to.
Yes.
Yeah, I assume because it's very hard to act and direct at the same time.
Yes.
So he might have been like, I'll direct a episode I'm not in.
Yeah, it definitely does depend on the actor and the episode and like what they're directing and whatnot. In most cases, they've been pretty successful. In some cases, they have been standout episodes of the whole series. So, you know what? Good for them. I'm really glad that they all got, the ones who wanted to got opportunities to do this.
Well, except for one very notable.
Rest in peace, Garrett Wang.
Yeah.
He's not dead, but man, they did him dirty.
Yeah, Garrett Wang's he was an actor on Voyager, and as far as I know, he's the only actor who was refused an opportunity to direct an episode.
That is correct, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. They really did not like him or his character.
But we won't get into that sidetrack this time around. We'll get into that sidetrack in, 6 or 7 years when we get to Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to notice that that Jonathan Frakes directed the episode, so I'm glad you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
100%. I got all excited.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
so
recap.
Yeah. We got into sidetrack corner real quick.
Yeah.
But, well, actually not that much because it is relevant.
Yeah.
Background corner.
Yeah. Okay. So Picard has like a chat with Troy in the hall, and he's like, this should not, like, Lal should not be considered a child, and Picard's very opposed to like the whole thing. But Troy, like, giving actual, like, good, I guess, points. I don't want to say for once, but Troy's track record is a little uneven, let's call it.
Yeah.
But this was actually a pretty solid, like, point. And Troy says, why should biology rather than technology determine whether it's a child? Data has created an offspring, a new life out of his own being. To me, that suggests a child. If he wishes to call Lal his child, then who are we to argue? I was like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take it.
Troy's good in
it.
this
And
episode.
And then Picard's like, well, if he must, but I fail to understand how a 5-foot android with heuristic learning systems and the strength of 10 men can be called a child. And then Troy goes, you've never been a parent. And then I wrote,
yeah, I wasn't sure if that was meant to be a reference to that episode, but
that was,
yeah. But I think it was just meant as a joke about like you've never had to deal with fucking kids, like you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's that.
Yeah.
So then Picard has a talk with Data, and that, like, he's concerned about this whole situation. Data's like, oh, well, I can, like, deactivate Lal, and Picard's like, no, like,
yeah.
And basically Picard's like, this isn't, like, life is not something you can just, like, turn off and on. You can't disassemble and just, like, or disable. I don't know what it was, but he's like, it's not like a thing to just, like, decide to do. This is a living thing now, and we can't just, like, do that. But Data thinks he's all, like, prepared because he read parenting books with contradicting information, as one does. Thanks, parenting.
Yep.
But also Picard thinks that, like, Data is maybe trying to make
hopefully he didn't
him.
read How to Train Up a Child. Ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a very famous book that basically advocates child abuse.
Oof.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, fundamentalist Christian
Oh boy.
things. Yeah.
So then Data basically takes Lal for, like, I would almost say a survey walk, if you will, to, like, look around and see, like, people. And so Lal is pointing out, that is a female, that is a man, that is a male, whatever. And then I guess, like, it's a research, so Data can,
I think they're just walking
Lal
to the
can pick an
holodeck.
appearance. Oh, I mean, but also, like, kind of seems like, I don't know, not taking notes, but just looking around to get ideas what they want to look like, maybe. That's how I sort of interpreted it. And then, like, okay, what do you want? Lal, like, wants to look like Troy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is relatable as hell.
Fair, yeah.
It's a very good choice, Lal. So then in the holodeck, so they go through, there's, like, thousands of options, and we know there's thousands of options because the next time we check in the holodeck, Troy is asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, fast forward.
Well, I mean, Data says it before they get there. He's like, you may choose from the several thousands of composites that I've created. And Troy's like, several thousand? He's like, well, it is a big decision, which fair.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. So the finalists end up being an Andorian female, a human male, a human female, and a Klingon male, in which I think Troy goes, a friend for Worf.
Yeah.
Which I liked. So Lal decides to go with the adult version of Dora the Explorer.
Yeah. with a real severe bisexual haircut.
Yeah, that's
It's a hell of a bob.
I mean, yeah. Also, you know, okay, number one, the actress who played Lol kept looking like vaguely familiar to me. So I looked her up on IMDb, and this is like really random, but the actress's name is Hallie Todd, and she played Hilary Duff's mom in Lizzie McGuire, like the TV show. She was the mom.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But also, she was fucking incredible in this episode.
Yes.
I thought she was amazing.
Yeah, she was incredibly well cast.
She just, like, truly, this is a role that I think would be so easy to just sort of, like, fuck up. Well, not fuck up, just, like, go kind of corny. Not even corny, but just, like, commit really hard to the android bit and forget the humanity bits. And she did such a good job of, like, the nuances, and she was so funny.
Yeah.
I think, like, the comedy, like, you know, beats, she was so fucking good. I just thought she was incredible in this role. I thought she was so good.
Yeah,
I agree.
it would have been really easy to overdo it with the android shit.
Yeah, very much
she
so.
was perfect, truly perfect. And so Data then brings Lal to his quarters, and, you know, like a parent does, they want to teach you stuff. Like, the first thing is obviously how to sit in a chair, the classic, and the next is Data starts, like, showing Lal a painting, and he's like, I'm going to teach you all about art in this. And then in the most classic child move, while Data's in the middle of telling Lal stuff, Lal just walks away and goes to sit on a different couch.
Yeah.
I just was like, that is a pretty solid child move. And just the way that, like, Lal just walked away like that, I found so funny.
Yeah.
And so then Data's, like, introducing other things, and I laughed so freaking hard. It's so weird. But just the way that the line was delivered, so when Data shows Lal the flower, and Lal just goes, smell!
Yeah. Smell!
I just thought that was so fucking funny.
Show me more, father! Show you more smell. All right, well.
Well, she means
I gotta
so many
rip
more
one
things.
if you want to smell something.
Ugh.
So then we get to watch, Data does a voiceover. We get to watch Lal learning some, like, you know, how to do some stuff, including how to drink liquid from a glass.
Yeah.
which made me laugh.
Yeah.
With, like, the face. It was so, this is why this actress was so perfect, is the way that she, like, drank from the glass and then turned and, like, all, like, instead of swallowing, all the liquid just went down the front of her dress.
Yeah. It just all spilled out of her mouth.
And it's just so casually.
Yeah.
It just was so perfect. And then when they're talking about that her reflexes need to be worked on.
Oh, yeah.
And they throw Wes throws the ball, and like, Lal only picks her, like, moves her arm like a second or two later and completely misses it. But just the way she moved her arm and the like face does not change, I thought was just so fucking funny.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite moments from the episode of, like, just like in terms of, like, visual gags.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
It's truly, like, it was so good. And so then also there's, like, the part where Data, like, there's like a schmutz something on Lal's face, and Data, like, looks like he's leaning in to, like, wipe it, and Lal just, like, wipes it herself, and it's like, oh.
She holds
up.
her hand up to, like, stop him, and then she, like, wipes it herself.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
So then Wes asks Data, like, is Lal gonna go to school? What's the deal with that? And Data basically wants to homeschool Lal.
Yeah.
Like, he's enough of a teacher, but Wes thinks that Lal should be, like, socialized and, you know, maybe make friends or something.
Well, I think it's like Data hadn't really thought of it. Wes is just like, oh, what does she do all day? And he's like, oh, she just studies in her quarters. Like, you know, she's fine alone. And Wes suggests that it might be useful for her to go to school and learn to socialize that way.
Yeah. Wes goes, Data, she could learn a lot by being with children her own age. And then Data goes, she's only 2 weeks old. And Wes goes, okay, close to her own age. Yeah. And then at that moment, Dr. C buzzes in and she goes, Dr. Crusher to Ensign Crusher, aren't you supposed to be getting a haircut, Wesley? And then Wes is like, I'm on my way. Parents. nothing personal.
Yeah.
It's like, what the
Like, that was such a bizarre moment because, like, okay, she's checking up on him, not getting a haircut. Isn't he, like, 17 now?
Yeah.
His hair also, like, his hair's not long. His hair looks totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they were like haircut. Like his hair
It was a
exactly
weird
the same
choice.
as always does.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
just needed an excuse for Wes to be able to say that line.
Yeah.
And for him
Moms,
to leave.
am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Lol also, I mean, I gotta say, whoever wrote this really truly got the like kid nuance down, because then Lol starts asking a bunch of questions to Data, and Data does the classic parenting move of like, this kid won't shut up and just keeps asking questions, and just like I can't deal with this, they need to stop talking, and just basically shuts Lol down.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't deal with these fucking questions right now.
Yeah.
So just like
He's just like,
Lol,
he shuts her
quiet.
down, and then he's like, tomorrow will be your first day of school.
So then Picard speaks with Admiral Anthony Halftel, who from here on will be known as Tony.
Okay.
And Tony is works, I guess, like it's like a science station. I have the Daystrom Annex on Galar 4. You know what I realized? So many of the planets we go to have the number 4 in the name.
Yeah. Well, it's basically like the way it kind of works in Star Trek is every solar system, except for ours apparently, all the planets are named after the star, and then just named like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's fine. I've noticed a lot of 4s though lately.
There are one or two instances throughout Star Trek where where our solar system is referred to as Sol, and a few other instances where it's referred to as the Terran system.
Yeah.
So,
But what I mean is, like, we have different names for each of our planets.
Yes,
as
I know,
opposed to
I know.
it just being Sol 1, Sol 2, and, you know.
right.
But yeah, I guess they like the number 4. Maybe it just sounds nice.
It sounds like it's in the middle of the system, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so then Tony wants Lol. He's not happy that like this is a thing that Data made Lol, and wants Lol for like the research lab place. And so then Data, who did end up sending Lol to school, I'd love to know what the timeline of this whole thing is, because I don't know how much time has passed at all during any of this. So Lol went to school and tested really high, so like she was initially with the older kids, but socially she'd be better with the younger kids. But the younger kids are scared of Lol.
Yeah.
But not scared enough to kind of be dicks and laugh at Lol.
Yeah.
So Data actually is a parent-teacher interview.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's like, oh, Data, what a nice rite of passage for you. So yeah, so like Lol is like, I don't know if this counts as bullying, but like the kids are like laughing at Lol for whatever reason. And Lol says, so without understanding humor, I've somehow mastered it. And then Data goes, the children were not laughing with you. They were laughing at you. It's like, oh, wow, Data.
Yeah.
And then Lol goes, explain.
I do appreciate his honesty, though.
Yes.
Yeah, like this whole exchange was, I found like quite interesting. So Lol goes, explain. And then Data goes, well, one is meant kindly, the other is not. And then Lol says, why would they wish to be unkind? And then Data says, because you are different. Differences sometimes scare people. I have learned that some of them use humor to hide their fear. And then Lol says, I do not wish to be different. I was like, oh, Lol.
Yeah.
Oh, also, very side note, which is, I think this is the most appropriate time to mention this, because it's not until 22 minutes into the actual episode that they are like, oh, lol means beloved in Hindi.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why they wouldn't mention that from the start. It's not like an issue or anything. It's just like they randomly throw it in the middle of the episode.
I think they throw it in there because it's Picard giving like a voiceover. I think it's just to add some more, like, to give some more depth to that emotional beat. that.
Oh, no,
that
no.
comes at the
I'm
point of the
happy to know
episode.
that information.
Yeah.
I just, like, we're halfway through, and that's when we're told
Yeah,
that's what the name means. So I
yeah.
just was like, timing is an interesting choice.
But
I'm very happy. Like, it makes I'm happy to know this because it does make the name more special.
Yeah.
But I just thought, like, we're halfway through. Why is this only being mentioned now?
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to get across, is that I think they picked that time in the episode to give us that information, to just kind of it just kind of gives like a more emotional context to things, because learning it at that moment in the episode, after we've already been on a little bit of a journey with Data and Lal, it just kind of like, it hits different than if you knew that right away. At least that's how I feel about it.
I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was like a random point to put it in. Like, I'm glad to know it because that is like a special name, but I don't know. It just was so far in. But anyways, so then Data goes to speak to Dr. C because he requires her advice as a successful parent. And Dr. C says that, like, unsurprising to anybody ever, Wes had a hard time, who's very smart and had a hard time making friends as a child because Dr. C says the children were intimidated by him. She's like, I don't think that was it, Dr. C, but, whatever makes you guys feel better. Yeah. And so she was like, yeah, the way that I helped Wesley feel better about his shitty childhood is I told him about my shitty childhood. Yeah. And then I just was like, did anybody ever have a good childhood? Are there people that had good childhoods?
Oh,
I'm asking for everybody.
But it's going to be people like O'Brien.
Oh, no. I don't just mean in the show. I mean in general. Do people actually have good childhoods?
Yeah, that's
a thing?
O'Brien.
So basically, Data, he's kind of stuck on the fact that, like, he can give her attention, but he doesn't think he can give her love. And Dr. C is like, well, why do I find that so hard to believe?
Yeah.
And then then we cut to a very gratuitous shot of Picard sleeping with his arm over his head and his shirt wide open.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was a choice. There is no argument. There is no, I'm not going to protest. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to say it was random, but also thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be a very deliberate choice.
Yeah. Yes. I just the funniest part for me was like the way his arm was above his head like that. Yeah. It just was like, okay, I mean, all right, yeah. I'll take it. So Dr. C. So basically Picard is woken up by Tony, who's like, I'm going to come and see, I want to evaluate Lal myself. And it's like, fuck off, Tony. Like, we don't want to deal with you right now.
Yeah. Cause he basically wants to take Lal, but not Data, because he's like, we think that he'll mess her up, basically.
To be fair, very much like Disney, anything made within Starfleet is Starfleet property.
Yeah, even though we already had an episode about that.
Yes, yeah, we did.
So then Data decides to bring Lal to 10 Forward, and Lal goes, Father says I would learn a great deal from working with someone as old as you, to Guinan, who's also wearing a green outfit, and I liked the green on her a lot. Mm-hmm. Then Lal says, I've been programmed with a listing of 1,412 known beverages. And then Guinan's like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah. You said I've.
You said I've. Yeah. And Data's like, I'm proud and confused. Because they don't understand how that happened.
Because Data can't use contractions, but she can.
Yeah.
Sorry, Data cannot use contraction.
Okay, so then Tony just is like, I think that Lal needs... Oh, Tony shows up on... Is this when he shows up on the ship?
He shows up a little bit later because there's a couple scenes where Lal is working in 10 Forward with Guinan,
Yeah.
and she explains some stuff to him, or her rather.
Yeah. Okay. So then, we'll skip this. I don't know if I can care what Tony said in this section. And so then, okay, Lol is standing with Guinan, like people watching a classic pastime. And Lol sees that there's this guy, two people kissing. And Lol goes, he's biting that female. And Guinan goes, no, he's not biting her. They are pressing lips. It's called kissing. And then Lol goes, why are they leaving? And Guinan goes, Lol, there are some things your father's just going to have to explain to you when he thinks you're ready.
Yeah.
It's background corner time, so I'm going to interject. Originally in that scene, the dialogue that Whoopi Goldberg was supposed to read was, well, when a man and a woman love each other. And Guinan absolutely refused to use that line and insisted on gender-neutral terminology. And in addition to that, she sat down. Yeah, yeah. So she sat down with them and actually convinced them that they should show same-sex couples in the background too. However, somebody decided to narc to one of the producers, a guy named David Livingston, and David Livingston put a stop to that real fast. So while the gender-neutral changes to the dialogue remained, it's still a man and a woman. Yeah.
At least
the
she
dialogue
tried.
change is good.
She did try, yeah.
Plus, I think that's just funnier, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
what ended
it's a
up
better
happening.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's a fun, so Riker comes in to 10 forward, and I kept thinking, like, if Riker was in this episode, how long would it take until he started flirting with Lol? So the second he walked in, and she's standing there wiping the counter, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Well,
no.
because she observed those two flirting, so now she's trying to be flirtatious.
So so Riker comes in, goes up to Lol and goes, you're new around here, aren't you? And then Lol goes, yes. And then Guinan, you can see she just kind of like turns around, and you can sort of see her partial facial expression, which is basically like, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, because she doesn't just say yes, she goes, yes.
Yeah.
You know.
So then Lol like reaches over the counter, grabs Riker and kisses him right as Data walks in, and Guinan's like, Lol, put him down. And then Lol like basically drops Riker because she pulled him so far over the counter, and Riker is very confused. And then Data goes up to him. It's like, Commander, what is your intentions towards my daughter? And then Riker goes, your daughter, nice to meet you. And then just like pieces out right away.
Yeah.
It's such a good exit.
Yeah. He's just like, bye.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Riker's in one scene this episode and really like goes through a journey in those like couple minutes. It's great.
Yeah.
So Riker is right out of there. So Lol and Data have like another conversation about, I guess it's kind of like emotions in a way, because Lol asks like, why do you still try to emulate humans? Like if you can't do it, because isn't that just like a reminder that you're trying to do something that you can't actually do? And so Data says like part of that is it's the struggle that makes it worthwhile, which like makes sense for Data's stuff, and that if you're working towards
he's basically saying it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. And it's a really nice exchange, and it's like sentimental, and then they hold hands, and then there's a music crescendo, and it's very cute.
Yeah.
And now of course cut to fucking Tony, who is now there in truly the most. So Tony's outfit's a little different, and it's got some real intense gold trim that just was glittering at every fucking angle and was truly so distracting.
Yeah, it's because he's an admiral, so he gets like a fancier uniform.
Yeah. Okay, so then Picard really thinks that they should stay. I think at this point, like, Picard has sort of come around to date. Like, I don't think he super like necessarily understands, but he's become more sympathetic to Data's the parent-child relationship that Data has with Lol.
Yeah,
Yes.
because at first he
He's like,
obviously
it's not a child,
it's not
and
a
then
child,
now,
and-
but now Picard understands that like it's
yeah.
it's not like for Picard to decide the relationship between the two of them, but he does like he wants to support Data.
Yeah.
And he says they should stay together until Data thinks that Lol has like learned enough from him that then they can have her go to the research, the Starfleet research, so then they can, work with her on whatever. But Tony does not feel the same. He wants Lol to be like in a very restricted like environment, and like has a whole idea of what he thinks she should be, like the way her life should go. So they go to see her in 10 Forward, and he is Tony is kind of elitist. He goes, she's capable, he sees her and she's serving drinks, and he goes, she's capable of running over 60 trillion calculations a second, and you have her working as a cocktail waitress. And it's like, Tony, what the fuck is wrong with being a cocktail waitress, you piece of shit?
I think what this comes down to is that it's the difference between whether or not he sees her as a person, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but the way that he says about cocktail waitress, it just makes it sound like she's less than, like, if she was doing a different job, then, like, it's one thing. But it seemed, like, the way that he sort of framed it was like she's wasting her, like, it just being a cocktail waitress is, like, a waste.
Yeah.
Like, just in general. And that was, like, that's a pretty fucking shitty thing to say, Tony.
Yeah.
Well, fuck you, Tony.
She was working as a waitress in a cocktail.
And so, yeah, Lol is like watching the people. She's serving a drink to people, and she's just like standing there, like at their table, watching them. It was so funny. So then, like, Tony wants to speak basically with Data, Lol, and Picard. I don't remember who's in the room. I don't know. They have a chat, and basically Tony's trying to appeal to Lol, but like badly. And he's like, listen, I have a lot of respect for your dad, but he's like trash or whatever, and he's doing a bad job. And Lol's like, it sure sounds like you don't have respect for my dad. So I want to because Picard's like, why don't you nobody's asked Lol how she fucking feels. And so Lol's like, I want to stay on the ship. But Tony's like very adamant that she gets taken off. And so Lol basically has like, I guess it's a panic attack.
Yeah.
She gets like very scared, and she freaks out, and she speaks with Troy, and it's like truly kind of intense. And I was like very worried for her at this point. And Tony then like thinks he's got a real point going, where he's like, we've got these two androids, and if we keep them together, then, if the Enterprise gets attacked, then we lose both. But if we keep them separate, then we have a backup. And it's like, Tony, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, on one hand, maybe, but that's like saying, like, that doesn't, that's stupid reasoning. Like, the logic does not, like...
It's like Data was free to... It's like, okay, when Data was the only one, it's like, why weren't you like, oh, Data must be protected at all costs? Because,
he's only doing this shit now. Also, how many other people are fucking working on this shit right now? Go talk to Bruce, Tony. Go talk to Bruce. Bruce is working on this shit. Go talk to Bruce. Let him make an android for you. Like, fuck off, Tony.
Yeah.
Go fuck off with Bruce.
Who knows? Maybe Bruce is on Galar 4.
Oh my God, Bruce, do your own fucking work. Stop trying to rely on Data.
Yeah.
Christ, Bruce. It's a stupid argument. I almost said Bruce sucks. He does suck, but Tony sucks a lot too.
Yeah.
And then there's also this argument that like Picard can't understand any of this because he's not a parent, which I think is also a bullshit reason, because then Tony's rationale, he's like, as a parent, his arguments don't fucking make sense.
Because, like, he brings up, it's like, as a parent, like, there comes a time when you have to, let your kids go. Which is, like, it is true, but Picard's like, Yeah, but, like, even I can see, like, this is not the time for that. Like, she still is very dependent on him.
That's the thing that was, like, really annoying, was, like, Data was like, when I think it's ready, and when Lol is ready to go, then we'll go to the station. And just, Tony would not seem to fucking get it through his stupid freaking Tony head. Yeah. That, like...
Well, he's obviously into this, and he just wants control of the situation, I think.
Yeah, it just... Nobody said that they weren't ever going to go to the research station. Mm-hmm. It's just right now is not the time. Like, Christ, Tony, nobody, like, they're just saying not now. They're not saying no forever.
Yeah, because he keeps saying it's like, oh, she should be around, like, qualified people. And it's like, literally, who's more qualified than the fucking android? Like,
yep.
Yeah, who does he think is more qualified? Bruce? Fuck you, Tony. Like,
Bruce didn't even have his fucking, like, he didn't even solve a basic problem with the fucking positronic brain. Like, if you remember in that episode, like, Data's like, oh, how have you resolved this? And he's like, I haven't yet.
I didn't.
I haven't yet. And he's like, that's, like, the first thing that needs to happen.
Yeah, also, yeah, because, like, whatever specialists that, you know, Tony has, like the scientists there, are obviously there's no way they're better than Data. Literally created it, has done something that these people are not able to do. So why would they be a better fit than Data?
Yeah,
when they can't do, like, they can't do it. So, like,
well, it's been at least a year. That may have changed.
Well, I mean, then, like, they should make their own fucking android. Why are they still trying to, like, get Data's shit?
Yeah.
Because Data succeeded and they didn't.
Which
so
proves
whose problem is that? Theirs or Data?
Yeah,
that's their problem.
Which just proves that Data's more qualified.
No, I know. But Data had a, what do you call it? Data had a revelation at a cybernetics conference. Like a Starfleet cybernetics conference. So, like, his information came from that, and he applied it to something that he's focusing on. Sorry, I dropped something. I'm not saying that Data is not better qualified. I'm saying that the other people are not qualified at all, we just don't know at this point.
Yeah,
well, nobody's saying they're not qualified at all. They're just saying they're not. If you're talking about the better place for someone who's more knowledgeable in the subject to be, why would it go to these other scientists if Data's the one who has succeeded in doing this?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they're not qualified in general, but I think Data is more qualified.
Yeah, because I didn't mean to imply that the others weren't qualified, just that
Data's the better choice.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, if they had something to contribute, which they, at this point, doesn't seem like they do, it's just like studying, so they're just getting their information, again, from Data.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, this just literally popped into my brain. No one brings up that, like, maybe an option is to put one of the researchers on the Enterprise to help Data.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, that would be stupid, because then you have to add another cast member and, like, pay them.
But I guess that would go against, like, one of Tony's bullshit things of, like, oh, well, you know, then if they're together, then what if they're attacked? And then that researcher could be killed. And it's like, yeah, Tony, everybody signed up for this. Yeah. They know the risks.
Part of being in Starfleet.
Yeah, Tony, what the fuck have you been doing until now? Like, you're an admiral. Like, what the fuck did you sign up for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Picard. So then, like, Tony orders Data to release Lol, and Data, because he's, you know, I guess he takes orders. He's like, not psyched, but like he's going to do it because that's what's being requested of him. But Picard is like, no, Data, don't do it. And then Tony's like, Picard, you're going to risk your career and something else with the C. What was it? I don't remember.
Your captaincy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Picard is like, do it.
Yeah.
Try me. Like, try it, bitch. I dare you. Fucking try me. So then Troy buzzes in and she's like, we got a fucking situation right now. Lol is not doing great. So Lol is experiencing emotional awareness, and is panicking. So Lol's sort of been programmed to, like, if there's a malfunction, to go right back to the lab. So they find Lol there, and Tony has a moment of not being a complete asshole and is like, I will help you, Data, try to see if we can fix Lol. Mm-hmm. Because she is full out dying. And so, oh God, it was like, it's very sad, because then, like, the way they set it up, it's like in a hospital room and everybody's waiting to find out the news. And so they're unable to correct the system failure, and Lol is like she's not going to make it.
Yeah.
So then Lol and Data have this really, really sweet and fucking heartbreaking moment where Lol goes, I love you, Father. And then Data says, I wish I could feel it with you.
And he opens his mouth because he wants to say it back, but then he doesn't. Oh, it's so sad.
And then she goes, I will feel it for both of us. Thank you for my life. Flirting, laughter, painting, family, female, human. And then I just wrote RIP.
Yeah.
I was in tears, but I was smarter this time, because the last time I cried while wearing eyeliner, I fucked my face up. But this time, I ran to the bathroom, got some Kleenex, and dabbed my eyes before my eyeliner could be ruined.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like, I think like a huge, like, again, huge praise to Hallie Todd for this role, because she did such a good job with like every aspect of Lol, and this was so fucking heartbreaking. And then then they carry on, and I just was like, why? I never would have thought that we would have 2 bridge members lose children. Mm-hmm. What has happening? What? Like, why does this seem to be, why have they done this twice? Like, it's wild that it happened once, but now that it's happened twice, can we stop killing the children like, of the crew member?
Yeah.
Like, please keep Wesley safe. Like, please, like, because first, Troy's son, and now Ian, I think his name was, and now Lol, and
yeah.
It's fucking sad. And though, like, it obviously it hits Troy a different way than it would with Data, but I don't think Data escapes from this, like, unscathed.
Oh, no.
So this is probably, I would hope there would be some kind of lasting effect with this for Data, but I can't get my hopes up. But I think also, like, Brett Spiner was really good. Like, everybody was fairly good in this episode. I just thought this was a really well done episode, although I do have some issues with, like, with a lot of the parenting discourse. Not that, like, Data is a parent to Lol, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that, but it's just, like, the whole thing of, like, you can't understand because you're not a parent.
Yeah.
And this is the way parenting should be for this and this and this. And it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, here's the thing. It's not entirely untrue. Like, there are certain things that you really won't understand unless you are a parent. However, there's some pretty fucking obvious shit that you do not need to have a child to know.
Yeah. I mean, this episode is very, well, okay, Star Trek is often very sentimental about things like family and human relationships. Mm-hmm. With parenting, it's definitely always been sentimental about it, but you also have to remember that this is being looked at through a 1990 lens.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't think the issue is, like, the sentimentality. I think it's just, like, oh, you couldn't possibly understand unless you had kids, which is not true.
That is the sentimentality about it. That's like kind of putting it on a pedestal because you're only connecting with it in this, like, emotional point of view.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because they're not looking at it as something that is heavily researched with a lot of information on it, mm-hmm. which is something that it is. So, like, guys, come on.
Yeah. And to be fair, I guess, to the episode, it is Tony who says that, and he is very clearly the bad guy of the episode.
Very true, yes. They do kind of try to redeem him in the end of it, but I don't
Yeah.
think they're entirely successful at it. Oddly enough, watching the episode again, while this is considered a standout of the series, I found it more clunky than I thought it was going to be. I still really enjoyed it, but I felt like they went from slightly lighthearted to the implications of this are severe from like 0 to 100 real fast. Because that first discussion between Picard and Data in the what do you call it, in his ready room. Yeah, I felt like that was a mid-episode discussion that happened 5 minutes in. And I'm not sure, like, this is just my subjective feelings as I was watching it.
Yeah, I didn't feel that as I was watching it. However, like, listening to you say that, like, I totally get it. It does have a lot of, like, tone shifts, and
yeah,
especially the ending. It goes from 0 to 60 real fast.
Oh yeah, very much so. And like, I do still really enjoy the episode. I think the story is sound. I think that the philosophical questions that they don't even necessarily give us answers to are extremely well explored and very well discussed. I think the character development with Lal is great, and what it adds to Data is absolutely fantastic. I thought while the ending was 100% effective, the boy it comes fast moment that we just talked about, it almost felt like a cop-out. The fact that they kill her off at the end of the episode, and that was frustrating to me because it was so effectively done. So I can't call it a cop-out because it was completely successful.
Yeah, if you're looking at it like completely detached and just like you're just looking at the events on paper, it is a cop-out.
Yeah.
But I think this is a testament to how good storytelling is kind of like just the number one priority, because like as long as you tell it well, like people for the most part will accept, you know, flaws in your story.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and because this was so exceptionally well told, like you don't really, me personally at least, I don't really care that it's a cop out because
me either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very well effective.
So, blending into background corner again for a moment, the episode actually did get several page one rewrites. So, like, this one went through a lot of stress. The person who wrote it actually eventually ended up joining the writing staff in the 5th season. But he wrote it as a spec script and submitted it to them, and they really liked it. But the original story was entirely about Lal. And Michael Piller took one look at it and said, look, I like this idea a lot, but it has to be about one of our people. So I can't remember if it was like him or Rick Berman or someone took it and said, all right, here's the focus shift that we're going to do with it. And they changed direction so it would be about Data and more serious. Oh, yeah, sorry. The original one was a bit of a comedy with that apparently included a Ferengi hijinks. And I'm just like, guys, wow, I am so glad that got pushed down. Because I guess they recognized how much potential was in it. They actually workshopped it a little bit with Gene Roddenberry as well, because he was trying to settle like how a story like this could fit convincingly into the Star Trek universe, and that's probably why they ended up going with the idea of using it to explore a very human aspect of Data's personality and of Data's character. So. Also the computer was originally the mother of Lal, so good times with that. Really glad that version of the episode is not the one that made it to screen.
Yeah. An issue I do have with this episode is I have trouble understanding what exactly, like, Picard and Halftail are mad about. Like, I really don't understand why Picard is so bent out of shape about...
Like at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also my issue, is like I don't know why Picard changed his stance.
Yes.
Because he goes, like, it seems like he changed his stance to argue with Tony. It didn't, like, there wasn't anything that, like, he saw that, like, would have been like, oh, okay, my heart warms up to lol. But I don't even know if they have, like, scenes together up until later. Because it just seemed like there's just no, like, development for Picard. He just goes from being like, I don't get it, to, like, well, leave lol alone. And it's like, I don't get how we got from one point to the other.
It's funny because I actually consider, like, I actually really like, I thought Picard had a good character arc in this episode, because I feel like it kind of slowly changes through the episode. At first, he's like, what the fuck? And then, Troy is like, actually, like, when you think about it, like, why shouldn't this be a kid? And he's like, fine, whatever. And when Tony calls, I think it's Picard. He's just like, he doesn't understand it himself, but he's going to stand up for one of his officers.
I think he flat out says that, like, you or I may not see it that way, but Data does.
Yeah, because he respects how Data feels about it.
I think it's just the only way we see, like, Picard changing his mind on it is every time he interacts with Tony. Mm-hmm. Which, like, we don't see him interact with Lol until the very end. And I feel like that would have been a more effective way of, like, if Picard interacted with Lol more, then that would be, like, a very much a show don't tell of, like, oh, him being able to interact and be like, this is someone who's important to Data. This is someone who, you know, has, like, this is not just like a fuck around situation. Like, and if Picard actually had a couple of scenes with Lol before the end, that I think would have been more effective, rather than like I do understand the wanting to defend Data. Like, I'm not gonna, like, 100% I get that part, but I just think it would have been more effective if we saw him interact with Lol.
Yeah.
And so to me, it just feels like it's just a way for him to argue his stance changes, not from interacting with Lol and Data. It's to, like, argue with Tony.
To me, I think it's kind of like Picard just sees it in an academic way throughout the episode until the very end. He's about to say, like, the child still depends on him, and he pauses and he's like, and you see that's kind of the moment where you kind of see him change his mind, and where he, like, really internalizes that she is Data's child. So that's kind of how I took it.
I think I agree with that, but it's interesting because there is an episode that deals with a very similar theme later on in the series that's also considered quite a standout episode, in which the exact criticism that you're bringing up, Dory, is actually addressed within the episode. Picard is very adamant against the character throughout the episode, and then he's implored to actually meet the character, and that is what changes his mind in that one. So that's that's
okay,
something that'll come up far later
on.
about
now.
I figured that I was dropping enough hints that you would be able to pick up on it. But the thing is that Picard's ideals on an individual's freedom are something that is very integral to his character. It's something that he's been shown defending before. It's something that he feels very passionately about, and I think the moment when he realizes that's what he has to stand up for here is probably one of the things that changes his mind as a character, because that is consistent with something that he believes. That is something that he can understand. He doesn't have to relate to how Data feels about Lal to agree that Lal has her own life. Because that is the argument that he makes from the very beginning. You have created a life. And the reason that he's so bent up out of shape about it is probably because of his involvement in defining the rights of androids in the first place within Starfleet. The consequences from both a technological standpoint, because that's immense, and from a racial standpoint here, as Data points out, are immense. And that's probably not something that Picard expected to just have thrust on him out of nowhere, because whether he likes it or not, now he is responsible in a way for overseeing this. And fuck, that would stress me out.
I guess now that you say it that way, I guess, yeah, just any old crew member having a kid is really does not have the same implications as Data creating another working android.
Right. But also, like, even within a family unit, which this crew is very much shown to be, when you've got parents and their daughter accidentally gets pregnant, or their son accidentally impregnates someone, that's not just like, oh, well, it happens. Mm-hmm. For basically anyone. That's huge. And that can be very much seen as the way that Picard is taking this, with that kind of, this is a major change, because the implications of this are as big as having a child within a small family.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's exactly a parallel to that.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm just saying that it's the kind of approach that I see it as.
Yeah. Because to me, the situation is more like if there was a couple in the family who was planning on having a kid but didn't tell anybody, and then when they were pregnant, like, announced it. And it's like,
okay,
you know, that would be a surprise. And, like, you know, I guess depending on the situation, like, or how shitty your family is, some people might be mad about it, but...
Yeah. And, I mean, the thing is that I don't even know if it's that Picard was mad as much as he was incredibly frustrated by this new massive responsibility that he is now part of. Mm. And as we saw within the rest of the episode, he did become part of the responsibility, and he probably saw that that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, like, Data creating something has now, like, Data's not thinking about the consequences, but now it's all come on Picard to have to deal with this, because, like, right after it's known what's going on, like, Tony immediately is like, Picard, I need this android. And Picard is in now this shitty position of, like, he had no control over this situation, and now he's put in this to be like, well, fuck.
Yeah, now he has to, like, fend off Tony, and he's, like, getting bothered in the middle of the night.
Not again. Dun, 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 dun.
I did really like I truly wish that there was more, like, the gradual change I don't think was satisfying to me, but I do like at the end of, like, when he does hear Lal give her opinion, and then when Data gives his thoughts, but Tony's still like, release her to me. Mm-hmm. And Data's like, well, I'm going to do it because I listened to orders. And that's when Picard is like, wait, what the fuck? No.
Yeah.
So
I
do
actually
like
really
his
appreciated
whole, like, thing at the end.
Yeah.
He has like a couple of good, like, points that he says. He goes, damn it, even I can see the umbilical cord is virtually uncut. The child depends on him. Mm-hmm. And then later he says to Tony, it's same scene, just a letter on the scene. He goes, there are times, sir, when men of good conscience cannot blindly follow orders. You acknowledge their sentience, but sentience?
Yeah.
Sentience, but you ignore their personal liberties and freedom. And then he sighs. Order a man to hand his child over to the state? Not while I am his captain.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Picard wears a microphone because you need to drop it.
Not in my town.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see how that can feel like it's coming out of nowhere, like Picard changing his mind and stuff. However, I personally don't mind it, because I was actually going to comment on, I like that, unlike Measure of a Man, this episode is actually about Data and Lal. It's not just a Data issue where it's actually about Picard. So yes. I kind of liked that Picard got an arc, but it wasn't explicitly about him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do agree that I think the episode would have benefited with more scenes between Picard and Lal. Or at least an acknowledgement that he's not interacting with her. Because
it really just seems like he's doing this to defend Data and not actually believing in it until he sees this, like, Lul's reasoning and Data's reasoning right in front of him.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think that was kind of the point. that this was more academic to Picard until the very end.
I think that the despite that, there's two really pivotal moments within the academic approach that they went to with this, and one of them is Picard asking Lal what her opinion of this is in front of the Admiral. I think that was incredibly effective line of dialogue that really hits home to the audience why they are in the right for this. Like, the audience already agrees, but like being able to exemplify it within the dialogue is very important. But also, I felt like there was a moment of abusive parroting here, not from Data, but from Starfleet as the ones who technically raised him. Mm-hmm. When Data said that he created Lal because he wanted to give back to Starfleet for all that it has done for him. And what's Starfleet doing for him now? And I was just like, oh, oof, Data. Oof.
I did think that's a kind of a funny classic, like, parenting move of, like, deciding what the child's future's going to be.
I mean,
yes.
at least, at the very least, Data says, like, he hopes that what she chooses, that is what she chooses, rather than being like, I wanted to put her in Starfleet Academy and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a very classic, like, this is what I want for your future thing. But I have to give a little bit of credit to Data, being like that he wants that to happen, but I don't think he's going to, like, force her.
No, he's not. He very much stated that what he hopes for Lal is, like, going to be her own choice. Mm-hmm. And he has exemplified that throughout the episode in numerous other ways as well.
Yeah. Another thing that I don't necessarily agree with in this episode is when Data and Lal are having their conversation in the court, like, after she comes back from the kissing Riker incident, I think, is when it happens. Anyway, she's just like, like, I will never be able to feel what they feel. Why try to emulate them when it just, I think she says, like, it just reminds you that you're incomplete. Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
that just touched me. I saw this whole conversation in a different way, because it's like, you're not incomplete, though. Like, you are who you are. There's, like, obviously as a human who has emotions, like, I think they're very useful, and I think, having emotions is a good thing, but I don't think it makes you lesser because she doesn't have them. As long as you're ethical and not harming people or whatever, like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I don't think that Data and Lal should have to emulate humans, because they're androids.
I agree.
They don't, I don't think they should feel like they have to. And I don't feel like it should be necessarily the goal to try to become more human. Like, that's fine. Like, Data wants to do that, and that's all good. But I don't think it should be, like, a requirement, because it's like the whole eating and drinking thing. It's like, that's for the comfort of people around you, I guess. And I suppose it makes, like, socialization easier. But it's like, you shouldn't have to pretend to eat and drink to just hang out with people, So while I agree with the sort of general sentiment of Data's whole thing of, like, we do things like just, we should strive to be better than what we currently are. And, it is the journey, not the destination sort of thing. But I kind of disagree with the sentiment that it's like, emulating humanity is the be-all, end-all of things. It's just like, I feel like,
that is definitely a Star Trek ideal.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel like you can learn to just love yourself as an android, as what you have, as what you are,
Yeah. It has been a theme throughout Star Trek's entire history, dating back to Spock, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
so it's kind of something that Trek has built itself on.
Yeah, and I totally understand that it's basically just, like, a mechanism to explore humanity and explore the like why we do things and stuff.
Yes.
Narratively. I just think like it's that message isn't necessarily one I totally agree with.
That's fair, yeah.
Especially because Data and Lal can be read as like neurodivergent or like autistic or whatever. It's like they're basically like advocating masking, like unintentionally, is like just learning to emulate the people around you rather than just being allowed to be yourself.
So, well, I think that's actually a fairly newish idea within cultural discussion.
Definitely. I'm definitely looking at this with a 2021 lens.
Yeah. But I would like to point out that this is something that should stand out for both Data and Lal. They were both created with the intention of being artificial life that would mimic humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the intention behind their existence and behind their appearances.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that needs to be considered, in that it's not so much that they are necessarily learning to emulate humans for the sake of, what do you call it? For the sake of,
the comfort of other humans?
Yes, thank you. Not necessarily for the sake of that, but they are compelled to do it. It is built into them as a requirement of the desires that they have for their own existence. And denying them that, even when looking at it through a 2021 lens, this episode's probably going to come out in 2022, so greetings from the past. It's something that needs to be considered for the two of them, because they have their own desires that were technically their creator's desires.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm saying like they shouldn't feel compelled to, because even if that was like the creator's intention, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to do it.
No, I'm just saying it was written into them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's fine that they want to do that. It just, the way I read it in this episode, the way they talk about it, it feels like, it doesn't feel like something they want to do. It feels like something they have to do.
Yeah, that's fair. I think while this episode doesn't really explore it except in like a single line of dialogue, really, there are other moments throughout Data's characterization in the series that do exemplify much better why he wants this. And it has a lot to do with, some of it has to do with Dr. Soong, and his creation, but some of it has to do with the fact that he was found by humans, by Starfleet officers, and socialized by them in the first place, and he really appreciates and respects them. And I feel like while he does have that like sentimental feeling about humans, Data is definitely more than capable of looking at it from an objective approach.
For sure.
I think he definitely, in universe, has very legitimate reasons for wanting to emulate humanity as his like most primary desire for himself.
Oh, for sure. I'm not trying to say that.
No. I understand. I realize that's just an issue within this own episode's writing, and I completely agree with that. It's not something that's addressed within the episode well.
Yeah. Like, I have no problem with Data wanting that, and I don't question Data's motives at all. I feel the way it was presented was, I don't necessarily agree with. And it's a very, like, sort of, it could just be I'm, like, reading too much into it, but it just, I kind of had this new perspective on it, like, while they're having that conversation, and I'm like, no, like, because they don't, I think what my issue is that they don't really address like when Lal says it's like, it just reminds you that you're incomplete. I feel like that goes unaddressed. Like, I don't feel like the episode says like, you're not incomplete. Like, I feel like the episode takes the stance of like, yeah, because you don't have emotions, something is lacking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of because the thing at the end is like, oh, she gets emotions, like she gets the gift of emotions at the end. Yeah, I talking it out more, I think that's the sort of core of the issue, is that like that I feel like the episode says, yes, you are lacking in something, which I don't agree with. It's like, you don't have the capability of this, you know, but we see with Data all the time that like he doesn't have the capability of emotions, but he has emotional intelligence.
Yes.
As contradictory as that may seem. So
I have a question, actually.
What's that?
Do you think that it's the episode explicitly saying this, or that maybe that's a personal deficiency in how Data and Lau feel about themselves?
It could be. I feel the way it's presented in the episode, it's more the episode is saying there is something lacking. Like, I think that's unintentional. Like, I don't think the episode is like, I don't think that's a message they're trying to get across.
You have no feelings, you not real person.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I definitely do see it that way, as like, this is kind of like what I would consider like maybe I don't want to say a personal flaw, but it's like, but yeah, like, I think a lot of people have ways of thinking about themselves that it's like just not true, or they're like, okay, I'm gonna take forever if I try to find the proper way. I think the best way I can describe it now it's a personal flaw with the way Data thinks of himself and his being.
I very much agree with that.
Yeah.
It is a personal flaw, because Data is a wonderful person, as much of a contradictory statement as that technically is.
Yeah.
As he is neither a person nor somebody who is defined by his emotions, as somebody who technically lacks them. But as this episode, I think, exemplifies, both Data and Lau do have emotional responses to things.
And actually, funnily enough, that reminds me that even in this own episode, you know, when Data's having that conversation with Dr. Crusher, he's like, you know, I can give her attention, but I can't give her love. And Dr. Crusher's like, you know, why do I find that so hard to believe?
Yep.
You know?
Yep, I remember that moment. I thought that was very touching.
Yeah. I like the, so this is getting off of that topic a little bit, but I wanted to bring it up, is I like that Lal seems to have a special connection with Troy.
Yes.
Because, like, initially Lal, like, wants to pick Troy's gender and appearance.
I want your breasts.
Yeah. And then in the holodeck, when she's going through the finalists, when she brings up Lal's, like, when she brings up, the human female thing, Troy says, I like her. And that's the only one that, like, Troy says that about. And that's the one that she ends up picking. Which, I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought that was really sweet. That she picked the one that Troy liked.
I agree. Yeah, that was a very sweet moment. Okay, so, I don't know, does anyone have anything else to say? I feel like we've explored this one real well.
I'm good.
Okay.
All right,
so...
on to favorite moments.
Yeah.
I mean, Lal.
Yeah.
Lal was so good.
Yes. Yes,
Everything
absolutely.
that Lal did was great. Also, Picard being the one thing that Tony did that was decent in this whole episode was waking Picard up in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Because, like...
Quite an accomplishment.
Yeah. And the thing I distinctly noticed, too, which I found funny, is that Picard makes no effort to cover himself up when he answers the video call.
Oh, I noticed that. I actually expected him to, because I was like, Picard, is that how you're going to All
Yeah,
right.
I thought
hey, good for
I
you.
thought he was gonna like wrap himself a little more or just do something, but instead he was
He
like,
was just fully nip out.
yeah, he's just like chest hair out and
Mr.
ready
Picard.
to greet Tony.
Like you, this whole episode is my favorite moment, to be honest. I cry every single time I watch it. It's definitely one of those ones that's like guaranteed to make me cry at the end.
Hits you right in the feels.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no, it did the same for me. On that note, though... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So, one of my favorite, like, funny moments is the reflexes thing, where, like, Wes throws the ball and, like, her hand only comes up, like, a second or two later.
Yeah, his awkward smile afterwards.
Yeah.
Thank you, Data.
So much of the dialogue's very good in this episode. I liked a lot of the, like, sort of, I guess, speeches or soliloquies that people give. I especially love the conversation at the end with Data and Lal. And the line that always gets me, I think, is when Lal says to Data, "Thank you for my life." And it's like, oh, fuck. Fuck. That just, like...
Yep.
Ugh, that destroys me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Lol yelling smell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that moment.
And actually, Lol's like, I think it's like the first line Lol has. Troy goes, "How do you do, Lol?" And then Lol goes, "I am functioning within normal parameters." And I don't know why I found that funny.
Oh, that's a very Data line, actually.
Yeah, I like that line.
Has Data said that up until this point yet?
Yes, he has.
Oh,
He
okay,
has.
yeah.
It was earlier on, but yes, he has.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because that's how Data always describes himself, how he feels.
Yes.
It's like, I'm functioning within normal parameters.
The moment that really does it for me is actually right at the very beginning, and I found myself kind of cracking up about it. So when the three of them, Wesley, Geordi, and Troy, are heading towards the lab, they're having that whole discussion and kind of riffing on each other a little bit, and they get there a little bit early, and Data says, "You are early," and like closes the door on them. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, Data, you're so theatric, and you don't realize it.
You're so dramatic.
And I really appreciated that. I felt like, yeah, you know what? Data does have a personality, and this is one of his things. Mm-hmm. Especially since he spends so much time learning theatrics. So, like, yeah, it's nice to see it blend out into him in a very overt way.
Yeah. Oh, and I love, like, Data's, like, awkward smiles. Like, in his reactions to things.
Yes. Thank you, Brent Spiner, for your face.
Yes. I love how blunt Data is with Lal.
Well, I mean, that's the way to approach someone like that. It makes perfect sense, and I think it works out great.
That's part of his character, too. I mean, he doesn't, like, he doesn't lie to cover up, to smooth over people's feelings,
Right.
That's just kind of part of his character. I like that the way the show approaches it is that they, like, obviously people get annoyed and are upset and stuff, like, because, some of the things he says are, like, upsetting to hear, especially when you're used to the social norm of, like, just being nice, for the sake of people's feelings. Mm-hmm. But I feel like no one ever gets, like, truly mad at Data for it. They just kind of...
No, they don't.
They understand that's how he is, and so they're never, like... I don't think they hold it against him. They're just like... No,
they definitely don't.
Ugh. I think more people are like... They're like, I guess I should have expected this. And I think that, like... Not to draw... Just because I've been thinking about this, like, how Data can sort of act as an allegory for autistic people, because sometimes the way society views autistic people is as robots and as very literal and all that kind of stuff, and like being clueless about social norms and things.
Right.
So it's nice to see that the show overall kind of, it doesn't seem to shame Data for the way that he is.
No, it actually, I think the show finds it endearing. Mm-hmm. If the show were to have a personality, that is how they try to write it. They want Data's lack of nuance in a lot of ways to be an endearing part of his character. Because, like, it's cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, I'm not saying that, like, he's a perfect parallel. Like, I am neurodivergent, but I'm not autistic. So I cannot speak for autistic people. This is purely derived from things I've heard autistic people say and, like, sort of the things I've read and that sort of thing. So I very much want to make it clear that I'm not an authority in that subject. This is just kind of what I've derived from listening to people within that community. But that doesn't necessarily mean what I'm saying is 100% correct. This is just kind of how I view it. Yeah, so I just wanted to give that disclaimer. So with that, that'll bring us to predictions for the next episode. And
Ayo.
I think, Dory, you'll be excited. So the next episode is a Worf episode.
Yay!
Yeah.
He was missed in this episode.
Yeah. There's also, this episode also has a healthy scoop of Picard in it. So it's kind of a Worf Picard episode. But the situation is totally revolving around Worf's deal. Anyways, I should get to actually giving you the hint. So the name of the episode is called Sins of the Father.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have a return of the exchange program. So a Klingon comes onto the Enterprise as part of the exchange program, and the honor of Worf's family comes into question.
Oh, okay. Okay. I immediately, the second I heard the title, I was like, I have an idea. I have an idea. But now since I've got the hint, okay, I'm expanding from the idea. Okay. Oh, okay. So, like, Worf is adopted, correct? Mm-hmm. What if, well, the sins of the father, they're talking about his birth father, and the person, the Klingon who's coming to the Enterprise for the exchange is Worf's biological sibling.
Ooh.
And, oh, I'm going soap opera style here.
Sorry, I guess I should have clarified that it is indeed his birth family we're talking about, not his adoptive family.
Oh.
Yeah. So no, you're correct. I just wanted to I just wanted to I guess I should have said that that's the premise of the episode.
Okay, because I was like thinking, okay, so like this is like Worf is meets his like biological sibling, and there's like a whole thing of like, well, you were raised with humans and they treated you like they took away some of your Klingonness and whatever, and there's tension there. Or maybe like Worf, it's like revealed how Worf ended up there, and maybe not the like, not in with like bad, like not like in a sketchy way, but maybe like there was something that happened that was maybe not like necessarily on like the most legal, not like it was like to save Worf, but like not, but like adopting him to take care of him because like the only way they could do so safely was to sort of just like do it not necessarily legally. But I guess this is like maybe not
yeah, no, I guess sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off there. Yeah, the honor of his biological family comes into question, is what I should have said.
Okay. Okay, well, I think I can still keep the, like, though with the exchange program, maybe, like, okay, so maybe Worf, again, Worf's biological siblings on there, and I want to be part of the exchange, so they can, because they specifically wanted to talk to Worf about seeing, like, trying to get Worf to, like, get Starfleet, or at least, like, the Enterprise or something, to help his family, because maybe there's some, like, shitty things that have happened, and now some, like, that his parents did, that now maybe are coming back to bite them in the ass, and they need help from Starfleet, and they're like, hey, Worf, remember how we're, like, your family, and you have to do us a favor? And Worf is struggling because of his love of Klingonness, but also his devotion to Starfleet and Picard, and also a little bit Riker, because I know he's usually Team Riker. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm going with.
Okay, cool. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you want to see if Dory's right, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.